Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about one-step linear equations where you either have to multiply or divide your coefficient to both sides. So again, like in my last video where I talked about adding or subtracting, you need to keep the balance. If you double the quantity on one side of your scale, you have to double the other side as well to keep it in balance. Same thing with division. If you took away half of whatever is on the scale on the right side, you have to take away whatever is half on the other side. So I want to dive right into the first set of problems. So A, B, and C are going to be problems that deal with division, and D and E are going to be problems that deal with multiplication, and I'll get more into detail with that as I go along. So this first problem is 5x equals 30. So there's no visible operation going on here, but there is one happening. So between that 5 and the x, I can't really see anything, but there's actually multiplication going on there. So in order to undo multiplication, you have to use division. So you're going to divide each side by your coefficient to get that variable alone. So if I were to divide 5 by 5, I get 1, leaving me 1x on the left side, which is what I want. So 5 and 5, x equals 30 divided by 5 is just 6. So my final answer is x equals 6. Let's look at B. 12x equals negative 24. The process is still the same. I'm going to divide each side by 12. And I'm left with x equals, well, I know that 24 divided by 12 is 2. And since there's one negative, it's going to turn to a negative 2. So that is going to be my final solution. X equals negative 2. And my last problem, negative 9x equals 27. I can divide by a negative number. That's totally fine. Sorry about that. I don't know why it keeps doing that. So x is going to equal 27 divided by 9, which is 3. But I have one negative, so it's a negative 3. I'm going to rewrite my solution. I don't know why my pen is doing that. Negative 3. There's my final solution there. So I am going to rewrite problems D and problems E so they are vertical since it deals with fractions. So if you remember when we did videos and tutorials where we talked about keep, change, flip with complex fractions and fractions in general, we learned a method to take our fractions and multiply them rather quickly. So multiplying fractions is very easy, and it's the same process for dividing a fraction. So we can actually apply this here because we are really dividing each side by a fraction. But if you multiply it by something called its reciprocal, which is when you flip it the opposite way, you're really multiplying it and you're skipping that step. So we're going to go right in with that step. So let's take a look at the first one. I have 2/3 x equals 6. So I'm going to multiply each side by 3/2. All I did was take the fraction and flip it upside down. So I'm going to flip it upside down over here on this side as well. So if I look here at this first line, 3 times 2 gives me 6. And the denominator, 2 times 3 gives me 6. Well, 6 divided by 6 is just 1. That's what I want. I want it to just be x equals, and that's what I get on the left side. Well, let's figure out the right. I can make that 6 over 1 because it's a whole number. 6 times 3 is going to give me an 18. 1 times 2 gives me 2. And I know that 18 divided by 2 is 9. So my solution here is x equals 9. And my last problem, here I have a negative fraction. You are going to multiply each side by its reciprocal. And yes, the negative comes along for the ride. So here I am multiplying a negative by a negative. That's going to give me a positive x, which is what I want, because we cannot have a negative variable. We have to have a positive one. What's going on with my pen today? Here we go. Equals. So whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. And I can put that negative 15 over 1. So you have a couple options here. You can multiply straight across and then simplify, or you can cross simplify. So I know I can reduce that negative 15 and that 5. I can make the 5 a 1, and I can make this negative 15 a negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 4 is going to give me a 12. 1 times 1 is just 1. So my final answer here is going to be x equals positive 12. I hope this tutorial was helpful for you. Please like and subscribe to the channel for more. and leave a comment below if you have any questions for me. Make sure you share this video with a friend who you think could benefit from this tutorial. Thanks for watching.